Good afternoon to you. Mark Stout with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for Sunday, August 16th, 2015. I want to take a look at Invest Area 96L out here in the tropical Atlantic. A lot of talk about it on Twitter and elsewhere as the tropics begin to become a little bit more interesting. Hurricane Center painting it as having a medium chance for development, which covers the range of probabilities from 40 to 60%. And that is, in fact, what they're showing is 50% in the near term, 60% over the next 5 days. And our orange cone here that I'll outline in red indicates the area of likely development potential and the track over the next several days, the footprint of this as it were, as this moves off generally to the west-northwest with time. This is what it looks like on a really nice satellite shot covering a great deal of the tropical Atlantic here. This is the west coast of Africa. Here's our disturbance curled up to the southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. And it does look fairly healthy for a tropical wave. And you can see there is some dry, more stable air to the north of it. We'll see that on a different perspective in just a moment. The different things going for it, if you will, the sea surface temperatures and the upper ocean heat content. Anything basically south of this line that I'm drawing, fairly conducive heat content wise for something to develop. And our tropical disturbance 96L located right in here, and it'll be moving through an area of fairly warm sea surface temperatures over the next several days. So that's something you can put in the pro column for development, I guess you could say. And as such, the computer models, several of them, latching on and generally giving us a west-northwest, slightly north of west track over the next 5 days. And the GFS ensembles, which is basically you have your operational run of the GFS model, and then 20 other members that are run with slightly different variables to give you a different output. It's a way to kind of see, well, let's change this, and what if this happens? How would the output be then? And it gives you an idea of what could happen. And in this case, the general idea from several of those ensemble members, again, is a track off to the west-northwest with time over the next week to 10 days, actually. Now, interestingly enough, the intensity forecast, I would say this is pretty suspect. The statistical models here generally indicating that this will become a hurricane, and quite a powerful hurricane at that. Whereas the dynamic models, what few of them even see this system in their internal mechanism, how they run. Some of them aren't even picking it up. Some of the models aren't even run yet. It's still very early. But generally speaking, I would say this is probably not going to happen. The sea surface temperature part is there. But, as I'm going to show you, that color that I was showing you earlier on the previous map of this nice shot of the system out here, Saharan air layer pretty prevalent to the north, just close enough perhaps that as this tries to grow, it could ingest some of this dry air and pull it in. And I'll show you that again on this satellite picture. As this tries to develop deep thunderstorms, it pulls the air in all around it towards that center of circulation, and some of that will come from up here where the air is considerably drier and more stable, and that might limit development as this moves off in this general direction over the next several days. So we'll see. Also, kind of in the way of it, our system is located out here off the map, but to its west is a tremendous amount of upper level westerly wind. In fact, let me draw over this with yellow and I'll show you these vectors, if you will. Look at this. This is all coming generally against the grain, so to speak. I'll draw some arrowheads in here to show you. This is the direction of the wind flow, and some of these wind speeds are 30, 40 knots, and our system would be coming headstrong into that, and that's not good if it wants to survive at all. So there's a few things going for it, several against it. That's why we have about a 40, 50, 60%, somewhere around there, chance of this developing. It's kind of marginal at the moment. We'll see what happens, but it is an indication that the hurricane season is trying to produce tropical systems way out in the open Atlantic where they are supposed to be this time of year. And the longer term models are indicating a little bit more coming off Africa in the next several days to a couple of weeks. So we'll see. Maybe one or two could try to get going and at least give us something to track, maybe bringing some much-needed rainfall, and hopefully only that and not too much of it at once to parts of the Caribbean where the drought has been so prolific as of late. All right, I'll go over much more tomorrow in the update, but today I just wanted to give you a look at what's happening with 96L. No worries at all for land masses. Even if it were to become a full-bore hurricane and head straight for the United States, it would be more than probably 10-plus days away, and there are no indications that it's going to do that, by the way. I'm just saying it is far out in the Atlantic. It's something we can watch, and you can keep up with it with these wonderful apps of Hurricane Pro and HD. Speaking of that, I am Mark Sudduth for Hurricane Pro and HD, and of course my website, hurricanetrack.com. Always a pleasure to be able to bring you my insights on this. Hope you learned something from it. I'll be back tomorrow with more info for you as we start the week ahead.